if our city is so war-torn, how can we go out and dress like this and then ride out in our streets feeling safe and feeling community, you know?
Yesterday's cold weather didn't stop people from participating in a naked bike ride as a form of protest against the possibility of the National Guard coming to Portland. Coming up here on Sunrise, we'll have a wrap-up of all the protests over the weekend. Plus,
this is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death.
President Trump speaking today about the release of hostages in the Middle East. We'll have the latest in national headlines just a few minutes from now.
It looks like part of the uncaged cycles and the Felton's heating and air collapse.
And we're also going to take you to Longview. This was the scene there yesterday. Strong winds ripping the roof off that building, sending it into the street. More details at 6:45. The 6 o'clock hour of Sunrise is right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Monday. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Where's Chris McGinnis? Where is Rodney Hill? There they are. Weather and traffic right here at the top of the hour.
I get to go first. Okay, good morning. About a half of an inch of rain last 24 hours up and down the valley, similar amounts at the coast. We still have snow, that's right, up in the Cascades. That will be ending as freezing levels pop up to about 6,000 feet today. We may be already dry for the day in Portland, Canby, and Salem. You can see the moisture is off to our east and the south. Everything is going to basically be fizzling out in the coming hours. Timberline, if you haven't heard, 11 inches on the ground. Meadows also down to 5,000 feet, 11 inches on the ground. It's been light amounts with the pavement showing at the passes. That's Government Camp, 33 degrees. Obviously, you probably will need a touch of extra time just to drive carefully up over the high country early this morning before those temperatures start to rise. We have clouds over the city, and we are chilly. 42 is the lowest number of the fall season out at the airport. So to the bus stop we go. Low 40s, mainly dry. Certainly by noon, any rain chances gone. We'll be seeing clearing skies, 52 degrees. We'll feel the chill of an east wind start to blow, and it'll be about 59 when the kids get out of school later today. Here is Chris McGinnis.
All right, chilly for sure. Rod, let's bring it down low here. This is Interstate 84, the Banfield, out near 82nd Avenue. You can see the damp pavement out there, and traffic still zipping along okay on that side of town as it is over on the Sunset. Right now, the freeway drive's in pretty good shape. We're still pretty close to a speed limit clip, or even better than that. Heads up if you go to the airport using the MAX Red Line. There are red line disruptions all week long as TriMet does some track work, and so they're going to be using shuttle buses all week to run between Gateway and PDX. So expect some delays for that part of your commute. And this is the big traffic deal this morning, of course, the 6-month closure of the Broadway Bridge. Devin Haskins has more live in North Portland.
Yeah, that 6 months closure is going to catch maybe some drivers off guard if they weren't expecting it or didn't know about it, and all of a sudden coming here to North Portland side of the Broadway Bridge, or even the downtown side of Broadway Bridge, and finding out that it is closed. It is indeed closed for the next 6 months. So let's talk about that. It's part of a $28 million project to replace the decking of that bridge. That is the part of the deck that you drive on. It was installed 20 years ago, and the county says it is time to replace it. It is full of patch jobs and everything, and they tell me that instead of patching it, it needs replaced. A small section of the deck will also be replaced at a time to keep the bridge balanced and open to river traffic. It'll be closed off to all vehicles, buses, and the Portland streetcar till April, although the south sidewalk will stay open for most of the time for people walking or biking to get across. Now, if you take the streetcar across, there is some detours in place. That will detour across the Tillicum Crossing, and then TriMet's Bus Line 17 will also detour over the Steel Bridge. So how do you get across? Well, they don't call Portland Bridge City for nothing. You still have the Burnside, the Morrison, the Steel, the Hawthorne, the Fremont, the Markham. I mean, there's a whole number of bridges that you can get across the Willamette to get into Portland. Again, this is closing today all the way till about April 11th is when they say it should be back open. Back to you.
Our Devin Haskins reporting live from North Portland this morning. Thank you, Devin. All right, we are taking a live look at the ICE facility in South Portland this morning. And at 6 o'clock on your Monday, things are pretty clear out there. Portland police say that they didn't make any arrests last night at or near the ICE facility.
There were more protests over the weekend, though, in response to the possible deployment of the National Guard to Portland and the ongoing work of ICE in the city. The weekend protest included what was described as an emergency World Naked Bike Ride. Here's KGW's John Adams with more.
Music, costumes, and more outside the ICE facility in Portland on Sunday as people came out to make their voices heard.
Love brings more love. Hate brings more hate. We're here to bring the love.
River Montijo is an organizer with the Portland Raging Grannies, a social justice group that supports immigrant and racial justice.
We came down here to sing peacefully, to show ICE and the federal government that we are not rioting, we are not being dangerous, we're just speaking our mind.
Also in attendance, a local brass band dressed as bananas.
What's going on over here at the ICE building is clearly not terrorism, right? I mean, anybody can see this.
Band leader Miles Thompson explains the reasoning behind the costumes.
I think that helps us fight this kind of fascist narrative of everything's burning down and we need to bring in the military.
We also spoke with Holly Brown, who was pulled into the facility and detained during a protest 1 week ago after crossing onto the facility's property.
And I'm out here to show them that we're not afraid and we're going to keep coming out until we get this building shut down and we get ICE out of Portland.
Rain showers didn't stop participants in an emergency World Naked Bike Ride from passing by the facility. Organizers say the ride is meant to push back on the possible militarization of Portland. John Adams, KGW News.
Meantime, we're continuing to wait for a ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals on whether President Donald Trump is allowed to deploy National Guard troops to Portland. And across the country, the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that members of the National Guard in Illinois can now remain federalized, but cannot be deployed in the state while the appeals process continues to play out.
Staying the part about nationalization, but not staying the TRO as it relates to deployment is sort of the middle ground. If they were to stay the TRO completely, then that means the troops could be deployed right away.
This comes after district judges in Portland and Chicago both issued temporary restraining orders blocking the federalization and deployment of the National Guard troops.
Oregon and Washington are part of a group of states joining Illinois in its legal battle to stop the National Guard's deployment to Chicago. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield and Washington Attorney General Nick Brown, along with nearly 24 other AGs around the country, filed a brief in the Seventh Court of Appeals arguing that the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard members to Chicago is against the law. Keep it here on KGW for continuing coverage of the legal battle surrounding the National Guard's deployment to Portland and what's happening outside the city's ICE facility. We'll bring you the latest on TV at KGW.com and on our free streaming TV app, KGW Plus.
Now to your morning rush. The last 13 surviving hostages have been released by Hamas to the Red Cross. So according to the Israeli government, the hostages are now on their way to Israeli forces in the Gaza Strip. Of the 48 hostages remaining in Gaza, 20 were believed to be still alive. Today, all federal offices, including federal courts, will be closed for Columbus Day, also referred to as Indigenous Peoples Day. That includes essential government offices that have remained open during the government shutdown. The Senate is also in recess until Friday the 17th. And parts of Arizona are flooding due to record-setting rainfall in and around Phoenix. The flood watch was triggered by a tropical surge courtesy of former tropical storm Raymond. And that's a look at your morning rush.
All right, before we get to Rod Hill, how about a live look outside from our Timberline Lodge Skycam? So snow up there near the lodge, part of our big weather report this morning. We're also talking about that crazy weather yesterday, including what may have been a tornado touching down in Longview. Lots to cover here, Rod. What's the latest?
Although, you know, the meteorologist in charge from the Weather Service was part of the survey team that went up there last evening to Longview area. And couple things. Number one, if they would have saw something on radar, if they would have saw some mangled debris, I think they would have been a little bit more like maybe it was a tornado. I mean, they didn't definitively say not, but I feel like they're pretty certain it was straight line winds that came from a microburst up there. And as Tanya, the meteorologist in charge, said, yeah, wind is wind. Who cares if it's a tornado or a microburst if it tears your roof off, right? No injuries up there from that, so that was good news. Okay, we have no rain in the valley between Salem and Portland. We do have these showers kind of trying to creep back toward us, bouncing off the Cascades, and still snow up in the Cascades. The heaviest precip has now dropped south of Mount Hood. That Timberline camera that Drew in China showed you 11 inches on the ground down to 5,000 feet. Meadows reports the same. Here in Portland, we've picked up about a half of an inch of rain. We're still cloudy, but we are drier, mostly cloudy over the city. 42 degrees currently. Your day moving forward sees rapid changes. Any rain chance ending in the coming hours, clearing skies, east winds start to blow, 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts coming out of the gorge in the usual spots. And with the sunny afternoon, 58 at 2 o'clock, and we'll be up to about 60 for a high. Here are the temperatures outside right now. And there are cool spots. 38 in Oregon City, Scappoose, Battleground, good morning. You're in the 30s. Estacada now at 38. You were cooler. 42 in our capital city. Meeks, by the way, is our KGW dog of the day. It looks like a beautiful cream color golden there. Use that dog of the day at kgw.com email address. Send us your dog's photo and name, and they will become our dog of the day. Okay, the weather map for today. Most of us see any moisture moving to the south and dropping out of our area, but could be some lingering showers out toward the Blues, Central Oregon, and mainly south of Eugene a little bit later today. Did you see the upper 40s in John Day and Baker City? It's a cool day across our region. I think Portland could get up to 61 if they're clearing skies. And then we'll be focused on chilly nights and east winds tomorrow, calming winds but clear on Wednesday. Next moisture chance comes in Thursday overnight into Friday, and that is your forecast.